Hi, welcome to the channel. Jack, and this is our 2 cents, where we talk everything boxing, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. In today's live, we will be having the fight night recap, Shakur stock drops, and Abdullah Mason says he is the new face of boxing. But before we do that, make sure you punch that like and subscribe button, and make sure you let me know and drop it below your 2 cents as we go throughout the live today. What up to everybody in the chat? Be sure you punch that like button. Listen, I have not hit the goal yet, but the goal for us to reach is not me, it's us. We're a community over here, is 100 likes before I get off the live. So if you're listening and you're not typing, just double tap the screen, hit the like button, whatever you got to do. Let's get those likes up so people can see and come in and join the conversation. Now, this is how we're gonna do this tonight, because I'm only on here till 7, and I really want to cover this topic, and I'm gonna try to get through it quick. It's the only topic I'm gonna cover, and then I'm gonna drop the link, and we're gonna go through the fight night recap. I'm gonna let y'all know what y'all thought about the fights. Was that Mr. Shelton that said Joey Spencer was gonna beat, or was that Coach Eddie? It was either Coach Eddie or Mr. Shelton that was saying Joey Spencer was gonna beat Tim Tszyu. We got to chit chat about that. But how y'all doing today in the chat? I'm gonna let a couple of more people pull up in here, and I'm gonna go through and say what's up to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Todd Drake for supporting the channel early with the $5 in the super chat. She say just showing love and support. Shout out Todd Drake. So now, what I was supposed to do when I came on here today was cover the Shakur Stevenson and taking credit for the 360 pay-per-view buys, and how that didn't really come off as he thought it would come off, because when you pull the hood up and look underneath the hood, and you examine those pay-per-view numbers, and you realize that those were global pay-per-view numbers, and you realize that the pay-per-views was $25 a pop, and that was just in the US. They could have been cheaper everywhere else, and you realize the numbers didn't generate that much revenue, and the 25,000 seat stadium had to be downgraded to 6,000 seats, and the 6,000 out of the 6,000 seats, they only sold 3,000 seats, and even though Shakur Stevenson, quote unquote, put on a great performance, he still got booed in a place where they don't applaud. Right? I was going to talk about all that today. But before I got to the live stream today, this happened. Now, Oscar De La Hoya comes out, right? Y'all know the whole Williams Zepeda, Shakur Stevenson fiasco. We've been trying to make the fight. Zepeda been ducking me. Nobody want to fight me. Nobody want to fight me. Everybody ducking me. I'm the greatest. Everybody ducking me. Nobody want to fight me. Your problem ain't with Floyd Mayweather. Your problem with me. Oscar De La Hoya come out and say, after all the shit talking, Shakur Stevenson pulls out of the Zepeda fight, right? Because recently, Zepeda's trainer has been coming out and kind of been like, hey, we was trying to make the fight with Shakur. We told him we was available this time, and he didn't want to wait. So he just made a fight with somebody else, so we wasn't able to make the fight, right? So it's kind of like, damn, what did Shakur avoid the fight too? Have they just been avoiding each other? Has the timing just not been right? Maybe, right? So now, I showed y'all the tweet with Eddie Hearn saying Shakur Stevenson. Well, it wasn't Eddie Hearn saying it. It was somebody saying that Eddie Hearn had said it. That Shakur Stevenson was willing to sit on the shelf and wait to fight Tank, even if Zepeda win the fight, right? And I was thinking, that's an odd comment to make, considering the fact that this the person you've been trying to fight and been really wanting to fight. Why would you be now willing to sit on the shelf to fight Tank when the whole reason y'all didn't make the Tank fight before you signed with Eddie Hearn was because you wasn't willing to wait? Y'all remember that? So go back and check out the live if I said it all, right? So fast forward, Shakur's available. Zepeda just won a fight. He's available. Oscar like, man, this dude pulled out the fight. And Shakur Stevenson comes out and says, is that what they told you? Turkey promised me a number, and now he going way back on that number that he promised me and sending his towel boys to run me the info instead of telling me straight up what he trying to do. I don't bow down to nobody, Mr. De La Hoya. Now let's negotiate. Now, I just did a video on this. I haven't posted it yet. I just recorded it. But I wasn't able to go in depth in the video like I can here, right? And I still don't have a lot of time here because we only on to 7. And I want to open it up so we can come on, talk about last night's fight, talk about the topic at hand, Abdullah Mason being a new face of boxing. So let's start here, right? And I mean, there's some other tweets that go along with this saying he's willing to negotiate and let's make the fight. And he's willing to make the fight go to purse bid, which would be a horrible decision, in my opinion, for Shakur Stevenson to make. Shout out to Kamal Oz with the $1.99 in the super chat. He says, now Shakap Twitterson knows how Frank Martin feels. Shout out Kamal Oz. And exactly, Kamal Oz, because a lot of people want to make it seem like you just, like Frank Martin just pulled out the fight because he was scared or ducking Shakur or something like that. No, they was BSing with the negotiations. Saying one thing, and when it's time to sign, you sending me something completely different. Exactly what Shakur Stevenson is describing right here, which is the type of games that people like to play in boxing. So now he's saying Turkey Al-Sheikh is lowballing him. And that statement right there, Turkey Al-Sheikh is lowballing Shakur Stevenson, that opens up a whole huge can of worms, because it's so many questions, right, to be asked about that. And this is, and I'm glad you said this, Mr. Shelton. I blame Zepeda. How is Zepeda and his performances with Tevin Farmer affecting what me and you talked about and negotiated for this fight? That's just a cop-out, y'all. That don't make sense. And let me tell you why that don't make sense. Turkey Al-Sheikh has unlimited funds. His country prints money. He don't care about the money. He only want to put on the fights the fans want to see. This is a fight the fans want to see. Shakur been crying about the Zepeda fight. There's a lot of people that think it's going to be a good competitive fight. There's a lot of people that think William Zepeda can beat Shakur. There's a lot of people that want to see that volume punching come forward style against Shakur. It's a fight the people want to see. And we can't disagree. Styles make fights. You cannot look at Tevin Farmer versus William Zepeda and say, oh, I know Shakur going to beat him, so I don't want to make that fight no more. I'm just going to lowball Shakur. Now, I can feel how I want to feel about Shakur Stevenson, and I can have my 2 cents and my opinion about how I feel about Shakur Stevenson and his stock, and how I feel it's dropped, and how I feel that he's regressing in his career. But at the same time, I can say this. If Shakur Stevenson sat down with Turkey Al-Sheikh and they agreed and talked about something, about what he was going to get paid for a fight with William Zepeda, he needs to adhere to that agreement and make the fight, especially when nobody else been lowball. Nobody else terms of whatever we talked about changed because of somebody else's performance. If you said this is what you was going to pay me to fight William Zepeda, this is what you're going to pay me to fight William Zepeda. How are you going to pay me less because of William Zepeda's performance? You're not going to pay me based off my own performance? And y'all can't tell me it's because, oh, the fight not going to sell. Oh, it's not this. Oh, it ain't going to bring the revenue, because Turkey Al-Sheikh doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about revenue. He doesn't care about a fight selling. He's clearly demonstrated that this whole time. So that's not a reason. I don't want to hear that. Now, we all was wondering, Shakur Stevenson, what did you go over to Matchroom for? What did you go over there for? He obviously went over there. My 2 cents. I'm not going to say he obviously went over there. In my opinion, he went over there to go get easier fights and get big bags. Cool. But just before you put this tweet out, you put a tweet out saying you did 360 pay-per-view buys worldwide. And I question, why would you make yourself the face of that flopping ass card? Why would you make yourself the face of the flop, Shakur? You made yourself the face of the flop. Right? But that's neither here nor there, because why didn't Shakur Stevenson tweet Turkey Al-Sheikh that he was unified and he was a multi-division champion? Why didn't Shakur Stevenson tweet Turkey Al-Sheikh about his accolades when he was referring to him being lowball? Why he ain't telling him about his accolades? I'm a multi-division champion. Why are you trying to lowball me? Because that's what everybody is always crying. Oh, they're a multi-division champion. Oh, they're the youngest undisputed. They deserve to be paid. When we keep telling y'all accolades ain't got nothing to, I'm not going to say it ain't got nothing to do with it, right? It obviously plays a role in some of the fights that you make. It does play a role. I'm not going to say it doesn't. but it doesn't play that big of a role or that much of a role as y'all think it does. And this is the proof right here. How was Shakur Stevenson the only person you ever hearing about getting lowballed by Turkey? Why is Turkey lowballing anybody? They print money. They got unlimited funds. Why is he lowballing anybody? And these are the same people that's been crying and crying about how Gervonta Tank Davis should go to Turkey and fight Shakur. He got the bag. He gonna make way more money over there with Turkey. But he lowballing Shakur? Why? I don't understand. And I was saying the reason you're over there is to continually to get paid what you were getting paid or close to what you're getting paid, to fight less competition. And I'm not saying you went over there to fight less competition like I'm taking some shots at you. I'm looking at the level of competition to where you went. I'm just looking at the level of competition to where you went. It ain't that much competition, one. It ain't that high level of competition, two. So when I say that, I'm not hating. I'm not hating. I'm not hating. I'm not hating in my auntie Skull voice. Shout out Miss Barbara D with the $5 super sticker. Thank you, Miss Barbara D, and your support to the channel. I mean, I'm just saying, like, we keep following this and it just keeps unraveling with this whole Shakur thing. Shout out to GM with the $4.99 in the super chat. He says, is he lowballing him or trying to pay him what he worth? Shout out GM. And I feel you, GM. And this is what I'm saying with that. Like I'm saying, like, Shakur Stevenson, he's obviously regressed some in his career. His stock has went down, right? And you ask the question, is he lowballing him or paying him what he worth? That's the whole thing, GM. When has Turkey Al-Sheikh been paying these fighters what they worth? And why all of a sudden now you want to start doing it with Shakur Stevenson? Like that's the issue I'm having with it. Like I get it, but you've been overpaying fighters. Like, why you want to start now with Shakur Stevenson, quote unquote, paying somebody what they worth? Why you lowballing him? And this is my issue that I'm having with Turkey, right? I'm not liking how he's handling the two young black African American fighters that he's working with. You got Devin Haney. He got over there on the undercard of Ryan Garcia, who he's allegedly paying $20 million. You paying Ryan Garcia $20 million, but you lowballing Shakur. Right? And I'm not one to really be playing the race card, but I'm going to be objective and I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be objective and I'm going to be fair. Even if we all right here, right now in this chat feel like Shakur Stevenson is getting paid more than what he's worth, that could be our feeling. That could be our assumption. That could be our opinion. But that's besides the point, because Turkey Al-Sheikh is giving these fighters their biggest paydays. He's paying them what they asking for. He's not worried about what they worth. So why are you worried about what they worth all of a sudden? That's what I'm trying to say, right? It's like it's two sides. It's like Shakur Stevenson, what you even go over there for? Why did you go to Eddie Hearn in the first place? Which is a question that we had. Now why is Turkey lowballing you? Why did you get booed in Saudi? Like listen, you can't yell in Saudi. You can't roll your eyes in Saudi. They don't be applauding or nothing at the fights. How is Shakur Stevenson getting booed in Saudi? And I keep asking this and y'all think it's a joke, but it's not. That's a real live question. And they want to and I hear other content creators talk about this, and they want to just gloss over, like, yeah, well, they don't want to give Shakur a bag because the way Williams Zepeda looked in Tevin Farmer's last 2 fights. What? When we sat down and talked, Turkey, when you and Shakur Stevenson sat down and talked, did you say that what you was going to pay him for the Williams Zepeda fight was going to be based off of how Williams Zepeda looked against Tevin Farmer? I'm just asking. Y'all tell me if I'm tripping. And I know it's boxing. I know things change. I know how things work. But let's look at the totality of the situation. Allegedly, Turkey Al-Sheikh has been giving fighters their biggest paydays and overpaying fighters to make fights. That's the reputation that he's built. That's what all these content creators have been telling me. They was encouraging everybody to run over there and go to Turkey and make these fights because he got the bag. Am I right or am I wrong? That's what they was telling us. Just the day before this tweet, Shakur Stevenson put his face on the best card of the century, said he was responsible for the numbers. And then so y'all telling me, right? Everybody tuned in to watch that card because of Shakur, but now Turkey lowballing them. So is Turkey controlling? You know what I'm saying? Is Turkey going to be controlling Shakur Stevenson for the rest of his career then? Or why he's over there at Matchroom? You either fight this person or you don't get paid? Like what's happening? Is Eddie Hearn, if the fight goes to purse bid, is Eddie Hearn going to bid on the fight? We know Eddie's track record with that. He didn't bid on the Devin Haney-Sando Martin fight. He didn't bid on that fight for Jerron Ennis. Is he going to bid on the Zepeda Shakur fight? Will Oscar De La Hoya bid on the Zepeda Shakur fight? How much will they be willing to bid for the fight? Let me see what y'all saying in the chat, because y'all know I can't read the comments and talk at the same time. Oh, let me say what's up to everybody in the building. Let's go. Shout out Todd Drakeford in the building. All things in the building. Fight Sports Talk. What up? Savage Bo. Kamal Oz in the building. Teach in the building. What up, Teach? Where you been, Teach? Hardcore Casual in the building. Shout out Hardcore Casual. OSL in the building. Miss Barbara D. What up, Miss Barbara D? Savage Bo say it's called long-term investments. In the building, boxing, what's going on? Bubs boxing, what up? Mr. Shelton in the building. Mr. Shelton, was that you telling me that Zoe Spencer was gonna beat Tim Zoo? Somebody was telling me that on Friday. That whole boy in the building, what's going on? Boxing Source, what up, Boxing Source? Somebody say Porsche Cap. What's up, Desmond Johnson? Jim say, sounds like you pulled out, little nigga. Shakur might be on the shelf for a bit. And you know what, the Boxing Source, that led me to my conclusion where either Shakur is stuck between a rock and a hard place, or he just really don't want to fight. It's one of those two things, because I feel like the reason why we haven't heard anybody say anything against or bad about Turkey besides Auntie Skull, really, and then you had Bob come out and say a few choice things after the Jared Anderson situation, is because you really shouldn't do that. It's probably highly frowned upon, because in Turkey country, you say something he don't like, he just get you arrested. You tweet something he don't like, he just get you arrested. Like in his country, like you say something, your ass going to jail. But Shakur's American, so he can't really do Shakur like that, or the American people like that. But he probably has some other repercussions when you go against or say things with Turkey. So either this is legit or it's staged, because Turkey don't really got no credibility with me. I don't really believe anything that's going on, right? And it's giving Shakur a reason to be on the shelf. You get what I'm saying? So now it's like, oh, well, Shakur ain't fighting because he pissed off Turkey, when really he just in the background trying to get his hands together. Because for whatever reason, they don't ever want to come out and be honest. You know, they don't ever want to come out and just be like, hey, I need the time to chill, get my hands. It got to be some whole big scene and some whole drama, because honestly, I can't understand why Turkey would lowball Shakur. Like, honestly, like I even though I'm like, oh, his stock, he regret, even though I have those opinions of Shakur, I don't understand why Turkey would lowball him, because those things I'm talking about with Shakur don't got nothing to do. They don't affect his pay and affect him over there fighting in Saudi, because Turkey Al-Sheikh is willing to overpay fighters. He don't care about that because he's not trying to gain any revenue. He's not trying to sell tickets. He's not trying to sell pay-per-views. He putting on free fights in the middle of the street in New York that nobody can watch. So he don't care about none of that. So why is he lowballing Shakur? That's what I'm saying. Everybody's saying it's because it's a pay to performance. That doesn't matter. Like, what does it have to do with anything? It's not like he's trying to get people to the fight or he want people to buy tickets. So that's a lame excuse. Desmond Johnson say Shakur messed up when he let them put him on the undercard. Once he let them put him on the undercard, it was a wrap. What about once he fought on Thursday? I do know one thing. Zepeda was placed at number 1 in the WBA in the latest rankings. That's what I'm saying. Like, how low is the ball that Turkey is trying to offer Shakur for him to be like, hell no, I ain't taking this fight. And then for him to come out and say, they know how desperate I am for the fight, so they trying to play me. Shakur, you should never be. And I would say Earl Spence should have taught all the boxers this lesson. You should never be that desperate for a fight to where you can get taken advantage of. So they shouldn't even feel like you just that desperate to fight with. I've been saying, Shakur, move on from Williams Zepeda if he gonna keep ducking you. Why you keep trying to fight him? Just move on. Nobody should be able to take advantage of you to fight Williams Zepeda. Who is Williams Zepeda? That's just my 2 cents. Mr. Shelton say, I am biased. I will always blame Zepeda. He said if Shakur didn't get that in writing, he don't have a leg to stand on. I mean, I get it. It's not that I got to get it right. It's just, I mean, of course things can change, you know. Of course things can change, and I get that. My only issue is why this ain't never changed with nobody else. Why ain't nobody else ever said that Turkey lowballed them after they talk about something and then Turkey lowballed them? We ain't never heard that. So either Turkey full of it and he's over there not treating these young Black African Americans properly in the right way, because you paying Ryan $20 million on the free card. You telling me you won't lowball me because the Williams will pay the performance, but you would give Ryan Garcia $20 million on a free card in the middle of the street that nobody can watch? Come on, y'all. That don't even make sense. Or Shakur Stevenson is just trying to find a reason to be on the shelf and trying to save face. Savage Bo say Turkey lowballing Shakur now because his stock dropped. Turkey may have realized there's no money in a fight for Shakur. Hold on, y'all. You get, yeah. Let me know if I'm tripping, right? Desmond say his handler starting to care though, 2 cents. What you mean his handler starting to care, Desmond? Shout out to Terrell Davis with the $2 in the super chat. Thank you, Terrell, for the $2 in the super chat. Hold on, y'all. I gotta do something real quick. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on, I'm coming back. So he said Shakur been ducking smoke. Fight Sports Talk said, well, I was wrong again. I didn't think Shakur would turn down the only big fight for him at the zone to wait for a unification. That probably won't happen. Shakur don't want, listen, that's what I'm saying. Shakur does not want these fights, y'all. And that's okay, because whatever his plan is, his hands must, I don't know. But he don't want the fights, bro, at this point. Because now you saying Turkey lowballing you? Like, and that's what I'm saying. Either Shakur, you tripping, or Turkey is full of it. See, and nobody going to talk about it in, because they not even criticizing Turkey. They like, oh well, it's because of pay to performance. What? That don't even make sense. Like, what does the pay to performance have to do with it? With anything? It's not like it matters because the fight ain't gonna sell. He's not trying to make revenue. He's putting on free fights. So that, oh, he don't want to pay for it because it's a performance. That doesn't matter. He went over there and let them put him on an undercard after he was main eventing on Top Rank. Shakur got finesse. Nobody fought but him and his team. Purse bid coming soon. I don't think he got finesse. I think he's getting exactly what he wanted, to be honest with you. He went somewhere where they didn't have a lot of fighters, and the fighters that they did have aren't that good. I mean, what else? Fight Sports Talk say, GM, you are so wrong. I never defended Shakur. I just gave my opinion that he would take a fight. I don't sell out for any fighter. Having a belt do not bring a bigger crowd. It just helps when you are negotiating for a fight. And that's why I said, Savage Bo, why he ain't remind Turkey about his accolades. Turkey gave Canelo all the money. It's over for anybody else over there. And that's another thing, Desmond. I don't care what you and Canelo got. I was here, first of all. That's another thing I hear people saying. Oh, he don't got money for Shakur no more because he got to pay Canelo and Crawford and all that. He got unlimited money. They print money. What are we saying? Do these people not realize that they going back on their own word, and then it's just supposed to be cool? Like, oh, he got to give money. No, y'all said he had unlimited money. Y'all said he just want to put on the fights. He's willing to spare no expense. And now that this is happening, nobody acknowledging it. It's like moving the goalposts, being swept under the rug a little bit. Y'all cool with Devin being on the undercard. Y'all cool with Ron Garcia making 20 mil, getting a title shot after a year suspension, allegedly cheating. Y'all cool they ain't let Bill up there at the press conference. Y'all cool with that. Well, none of that was cool at all. What's the point of being with the promoter that doesn't look out for your best interest? I'm confused with the roles these people play. That's a good point, Miss Barbara D. That's a good point. Because what's up with Eddie? Like, and that's what I'm saying. Everybody swear Eddie Hearn was such a good promoter. Like, how? He didn't bid on the fight for Devin. People say, okay, well, he wasn't signed to Eddie Hearn. Eddie didn't have no loyalty for him. Well, whatever reason, Devin must have thought that whatever relationship him and Eddie had, he was going to bid on the fight. He didn't. Okay, cool. He didn't bid on that fight for Jerron Ennis. And now Shakur Stevenson is talking about letting the fight go to purse bid, which will definitely hurt his stock. It will definitely show his true value. I don't think he needs to do that. Savage Bo say Big Turk don't lowball anybody. Fresh Baker in the building. What up, Fresh Baker? Fight Sports Talk say again, I don't ride anyone's train. I point out the good things Turkey does and the bad things he does. like this and the Bivol Benavidez fight. Fight Sports Talk. Don't it seem like Turkey getting more and more on some bullshit? Or am I tripping? Turkey getting more and more on some bullshit. And then you hear people making videos. Oh, they about to get $7 billion. You like, damn, they about to get them all that money, billions of dollars. But then you see what the TKO plan on paying fighters. Really? And then it's looking like Turkey been sent over here to pull away American fighters and take them overseas and mess up the market, paying them all this money, and he wasting and blowing all this money. And I'm like, damn, why he blowing all this money? But if they about to get billions and billions of dollars and they trying to start a quote unquote boxing league, and they plan was to come over here and mix up and scramble up and shake up the American boxing market so they can then infiltrate with their league, all that money he been spending and blowing kind of make a little bit more sense when you think about it that way. Because you're like, how the hell is he going to get all these millions and millions of dollars back that he wasted? How? Y'all talking about an investment? How? So he's spending the millions and millions of dollars to scramble up and mess up the Mexican market. He's supposed to get billions and billions of dollars in return to run his quote unquote TKO boxing league over there with Dana White. And the most a fighter is going to get paid is $750,000. But that's just the thoughts off the top of my head. I haven't really sat down and thought about that. Desmond say, I don't feel sorry for Devin or Shakur. They went over there. I mean, I don't feel sorry. I'm just trying to make a point. That's the young black fighter decision to kiss turkey ass. And we tried to tell, and listen, I literally said in a debate that I won, but it got overturned, about black fighters going over to Saudi with all the civil rights issues that they have and the shit they got going on over there. You should not even want to be associated or represented doing anything in their country. And they try to be like, oh, how America, you can't talk, nobody from America can talk about injustices and inequality. Nobody from America can say anything about that. Like, like the injustices and inequality in America is the same as in Saudi Arabia. They not. They still buy and sell slaves over there. Y'all really think they care about young black American fighters? They don't. If they didn't get it in writing when they went over there, nobody to blame but themselves. He talking to Turkey. Shakur needs to be talking to Eddie. That's who he signed to. Facts. Why is Shakur Stevenson the one tweeting? Why Eddie Hearn ain't taking care of this? Like, hey, why you trying to lowball my fighter? GM say he didn't impress. How he ain't impressed, GM? He got the stoppage. He beat Padley up. Come on, I say the bogus narratives are getting exposed. Yeah, they definitely getting exposed. And I'm not trying to even expose nothing. I'm just trying to point out the facts. Because they got you like looking over there at what's going on with Tank every 2 seconds with them making up stuff. When this is going on in real life over here with Shakur Stevenson. But then the same people that tell you that Shakur Stevenson need to get on a phone call and be able to talk to Tank. And what I've realized is that with this new lawsuit, and I'm about to drop the link because I've been talking for 40 minutes. With this new lawsuit, that they have people called fight fixers, right? And I guess you could call a fight fixer like maybe a master negotiator or master manipulator, however you want to look at it. But their job is to persuade fighters towards fights or away from fights, right? And so when I'm hearing like Shakur Stevenson wants to get Tank on the phone, Shakur, you want to get Tank on the phone to talk to whom? Because it ain't you, right? I'm looking into the lawsuit that was filed against Top Rank about them taking money from Kinahan behind Bob's back and the quote unquote fight fixer who was not paid for the fights that he fixed for Top Rank, right? So I'm looking into that. I'm thinking of starting a Discord group for 2 Cents Investigates, where we could just research and look up information, and I could be able to put some videos together because I can't do it all by myself. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I definitely would need some help doing some research. Jim say I don't think the fight even ordered anymore. For real? I have no idea, Z1000. Probably the same people he always was thinking of. Shout out to Boxing Hacker and Fight Sports Talk on the panel.
What's up, 2 Cents?
Hey yo.
Yo, hey, I saw it, 2 Cents. I hope you're ready to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But what's your 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Oh, about the Shakur situation?
And the fight night. What we could, okay, listen, we could go over the fights from last night, and we could talk about that, or you could talk about, Shakur Stevenson. Go ahead.
So for Shakur situation, there wasn't much provided. I feel like I will say one thing. I don't like when fighters start talking about negotiations or start shit on negotiations like before something's finalized, right? Like during tweets and stuff. I think it's important like they not like break down any barriers between. Let's say I'm negotiating with this person right here, and I start saying, "Oh, he's not giving me what I want" on Twitter. That could kill the negotiations. I didn't like it when Devin did that with her. I don't like it when Shakur is doing that with Turkey either. I think they need to like work it out, because stuff like that happens all the time, right? People have like money issues. Like this is not the first time that Shakur had money issues with like contract or so. So I think it's something they just need to work out and figure it out. As far as what that means, I feel like people are just jumping to conclusions. I heard so many different narratives. Oh, Turkey no longer has money to afford for fighters, or it's willingness to pay that. But really, nobody really knows. At the end of the day, like it was like a 1 sentence tweet by Shakur. So it's hard to say like what went wrong in that situation. But I think it's something they have to go back to though.
All right. Shout out to Boxing Hacker with the $5 in the super chat. He says, "Hey yo, 2 cents. I watched the documentary, so I'm ready when you are. Laugh out loud. No one knows why Shakur is lowball, but hopefully they can rectify it." Shout out Boxing Hacker. But Boxing Hacker, I don't know if you heard my whole little spiel about that, right? And like I get it, like we don't know why he being lowball, whatever the case may be, but it's not even why he's being lowball, it's why is he even getting lowball? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like Turkey got unlimited money. He hasn't lowball no other fighter. He's not looking to make a return. All of these things everybody been saying. So it's like, why are you lowballing Shakur? Like that's not right. And the reason why I'm kind of bringing it up and having an issue with it is because I'm also having an issue with how Turkey is handling Devin Haney. And so I'm like, what's up with him and these young African American fighters?
I think the Devin situation is fine. At the end of the day, Devin knows what he signed up for, so it's not like he's forcing fighters to sign for certain things. Believes that whatever incentives that Team Haney got, they were happy with it to join that card. Just like everybody else. As far as the Shakur situation, it's hard. Like it's hard to say. It's like sometimes people create like these false dichotomies, like where it can only be one thing. Oh, it must mean Turkey's losing money. Oh, it must mean Shakur isn't worth the money or something. But it could be a number of reasons. So it's really hard to say why. I do think like as far as business goes, I don't think they should be tweeting about it. It's so weird that you see Oscar De La Hoya start tweeting, "Oh, the fight's canceled" so quickly. That to me was also a red flag. Like, why would you, if you want to fight, why would you just jump out there like the first sign of anything, be like the fight's canceled?
Well, he didn't say the fight's canceled. This is what he said.
Exactly. He said that Shakur doesn't want the fight, and that's like I said, that's throwing red flags. Like I'm like,
he said, "Is that what they told you? Turkey promised me a number, and now he going way back on that number that he promised me, and sending his towel boys to run me the info instead telling me straight up what he trying to do. I don't bow down to nobody. De La Hoya, now let's negotiate." Now GM says He didn't want to pay Shakur that much to fight Padley, 2 cents. Remember, that was supposed to be Zepeda, then Kid Austin, and it ended up being Padley. But it's my thing, Jim. Why does it matter? He don't care what he paying people. Like, we got to keep that narrative. We got to stay with it. Fight Sports Talk. What's your 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Well, I was wrong. I thought Shakur would fight Zepeda pretty handily, especially after Zepeda's last fight. I didn't think he would use money as an excuse, because what else was there for him? We talked about on your show that, especially with Top Rank and PBC apparently coming together, that would make the Tank Davis Keyshawn fight easy to make. So Shakur would have to wait to get these unification fights. So him saying publicly he's not going to fight and using the ridiculous excuse of money when there's no way he was lowballed, he's just using that as an excuse. I was wrong, and it's frustrating as hell, because it just means that he's not going to fight anyone, because they're not going to make Tank versus Shakur. I mean, why would they? They're going to build up to Tank versus Keyshawn. So they're going to build Loma. God knows what's going on with him. So Shakur's just going to be sitting out in the wilderness. That nothing more to it.
That's what I was trying to tell you. Fight Sports is like, this is intentional. Like, yeah, I don't think. I mean, Turkey could be lowballing him, but that's why I keep stressing the point. Like, why would Turkey be lowballing? He ain't lowballed to nobody else. And if he is lowballing you, he's a scumbag. Because why are you doing that? Like, people complain about, he didn't want to pay him that much for this fight. He didn't want to pay. Like, since when has that ever been an issue? When has you paying somebody for a fight ever been an issue? And Shakur Stevenson went to a promotional company that had very little 35-pounder fights for him, and the ones that were available are low competition. And you think you went somewhere to go make cross-promotional fights? Why would you do that?
Yeah, he's not getting lowballed. That's ridiculous. It's maybe he's getting paid a little bit less than he would have got against Padley, but that is nothing new in boxing. He was on a super massive card, and he's getting paid a little bit less because the next card he's going to be on is not going to be as big. Nothing new there, nothing unusual. It's just Shakur, like you say, being Shakur. I hear you, and shout out to GM. I don't know if he misunderstood my comments. I never capped for Shakur or Turkey. I just said I didn't think Shakur would sit out and not fight anybody, because that's just dumb, and that's just stupid as a fighter, as a top fighter in your prime. But again, I was wrong there. As far as what you said about Turkey, there being limits to, or him just being on some bullshit, to use your words. Yeah, I praise Turkey when he's done well, but yeah, there's limits to everything, and his ego with not wanting to cross promote, not wanting to work with promoters, who won't be prepared to do everything for his way, and him doing dumb things like looking to go to Alcatraz and just put on a big spectacle when he doesn't need to. And in this case, he's I don't know what's going on between him and Shakur, but clearly there's some issues there. Yeah, we're seeing the limits of what Turkey can bring to the sport. Don't know if we'll talk about the fights. Good thing Hrgovic won. Joe Joyce is pretty much done. I, as a huge Tim Tszyu fan, I'd like to think that he's back, but I'm not sure. It was a good matchup, but we'll see what he's got left against the top guys, because I would love to make excuses for his loss to Bakram, but I can't. So we'll see. Tim
Tszyu looked better, but he still looked a little shaky. But maybe it could be ring rust, though. It could be ring rust.
Well, sorry, just one last thing before I call it off. That's a big problem. The fact that he did look shaky. Now, it was a horrible experience against Bakram and all the blood he lost against Fundora, so that's understandable. But for a guy who relies on his chin and is not fast, is not defensively that good, then that's a problem. It's going to be a problem when he fights these top guys. And it's just sometimes if your chin goes and you rely on your chin, then your entire fight plan goes. So we'll see.
All right, all right, all right. Miss Todd Drakeford in the building. What up, Todd? What's your 2 cents?
Yes, happy Sunday, everybody. So I just want to start with the overlay of the cards last night. I was kind of like all over the place. There was so much going on, but I caught the Abdullah card. I don't know if y'all saw the undercard for that. I think it was a fighter named Zamora. I thought he was pretty good. That was like the most exciting up to that point, but back to the young phenom who had a birthday yesterday. I thought Abdullah Mason did pretty well. He still has some things defensively he needs to work on, like holding that damn phone. I was screaming at my TV all night, hold the damn phone. Luckily, he didn't really get caught with nothing that put him down, but he's going to have to correct that moving forward if he wants to be, you know what I mean, in real conversations and have a real shot. Other than that, I thought he did amazing. Um, this nonsense that's going on with Shakur, I I don't know what he got going on. It's always a mess with him. He is such a messy little thing. Um, let's see. First of all, like you said, what you told me you were going to pay me has nothing to do with nobody else. You know what you said you were going to pay me is what you were going to pay me. If in fact he is being lowballed, then obviously they're going to need to get that together. But I'm starting to get a sneaky suspicion too. Shakur is just a drama queen. I don't know what he got going on, but time will tell because you know Turkey does not like to be called to the carpet for nothing. Hence that tweet and delete by Tio that we saw. But we're gonna see as this unfolds. I would love to hear what the Shakur Stevenson fans have to say and how they're gonna spin this. I see we got one of the spin doctors on the panel tonight. Oh, looks like two teachers here, and we got boxing liar. I mean hacker. So I'll
I heard
yield
that,
the
Ty.
opening statement and just let y'all go ahead. I'm listening. I
All
want
right,
to hear
all
how y'all
right.
spin this.
Shout out Teach on the panel. What up, Teach?
Damn, man, damn. Salute, Dusan, salute to the panel. Salute to Ty, one of my homies.
What's your 2 cents, Teach? What you got for the show?
What's up, Fight Sports? So Boxing Hacker just made a point that I just want to go over. He talked about the red flags of pretty much what went on yesterday. And I just see a number of them, right? Again, like, Turkey. The problem is Turkey offered them something and then just came back, right? Like a deal was supposedly met before, right? So they agreed on something and now he's pulling back, right? So the price is now reduced. And then instead of being upfront about it, he sends people to tell Shakur's team, I guess, that he's not going to pay him that much. So it's like, why didn't you just tell Shakur yourself, right? And then again, we talk about lowballing, right? This is supposedly a dangerous fight for Shakur. And this is a meaningful fight for Shakur. So he should be getting paid pretty much his market value, what he usually gets paid, or maybe a little bit more since it's a dangerous fight, right? But instead it looks like they're paying them less. I don't know how much less. And then, Oscar came out with this statement yesterday saying that Shakur pulled out. And again, this poses like a bad narrative on social media, right? Especially if Shakur is saying, "Hey, we're still negotiating." Like, if you're still negotiating, like, why would you put something like that out there at this point? And then, um, with this, I, I'm trying to figure out why it looks like Turkey just doesn't want this fight anymore, in my opinion. It's not that he doesn't want to pay them. He just doesn't want them, and want that fight. So the best way to do it is just saying I'm going to pay you less because he knows that they're not going to accept. Um, And as for what Turkey has done so far, I'm still good with Turkey. He put on a lot of fights that I wanted to see. Without him, a lot of these fights wouldn't have been made. So on that end, I'm good. This has nothing to do with what he's. This doesn't have to do anything with him undervaluing Shakur right now. So that's a separate issue. Um, and yeah, we'll see what Turkey does moving forward with the other cards in store.
Okay. Shout out GM with the 499 in the super chat. He says also Shakur is demanding to be the main event. That itself decreases the value of the card. Shout out GM with the 499 in the super chat.
2 cents. Do you mind if I
And
say
that's a good point. Like, how can he demand to be a main event? Like, he's not.
What did he say was the band to be a main event?
Well-
At I didn't read that.
Boxing Hacker, we not finna do everything.
Yeah,
gotta
but-
be verified.
I mean, people, I don't know. I think people are like
We're not about
are
to do
jumping
that.
into their imagination.
We
a little
are.
bit.
We are. We just talking. Go ahead, Fight Sports.
Yeah, I don't like doing this, but someone has to do it. We have to talk about when we get things wrong, because I did the same thing with Terence Crawford. I didn't have a channel, but I blamed Errol Spence and PBC for the Crawford fight not happening for several years. I thought they were more at fault, but I said on your very show that now, as a free agent, being the superstar of superstars, being able to command more money than he's ever before, Crawford is doing the same thing he was doing when he was with Top Rank, fighting once a year, not defending his belts, blah, blah, blah. And Shakur's, same thing goes for Shakur. When Lomachenko ducked him, I, as a huge Lomachenko fan, didn't defend that, but people brought up him not fighting Josh Warrington back in the day, and I thought, okay, he was a young guy, wanted to get experience under his belt. Now he is experienced. He wants to fight the best guys, and he's doing, and again, I was wrong about that too. He's doing the exact same thing. He's sitting out wanting to fight the big fights with a big reward and not fight other contenders. So it's these, maybe people like me need to stop being naive and defending fighters who will fight some fighters but won't fight other guys who call them out, because when they get the opportunities to fight whoever they want, it turns out that they're just going to sit out and wait, because sitting out is just ridiculous when you're a world champion. But they're going to do it, and the sanctioning bodies, because they have no credibility, are going to let them do it.
That's sort of bad logic, though, right? You're saying that. I guess I was wrong in the past because they did something.
Not the audacity to sell somebody they got bad logic.
No, bad logic, because he literally is saying, I guess I was wrong in the past because of what they did in the future. Like
he's saying I was wrong in the past because
but there's
now
nothing
that is played out. They're doing the same things.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he's basically saying I was wrong about the past because they're doing something current in the future. Like the circumstances are changing and are different.
That's not what he's saying at all. What are you talking about?
That's exactly what he's saying.
That's not what he's saying.
What I'm saying is that what I was saying.
Richard Paris say, "Yeah, I ain't mad that she cheated on me. She been faithful in the past, looking ass."
Exactly.
Exactly, Boxing Hacker.
It's like, hey, she must have cheated. No, you never know. Circumstances are different. It's whatever happened between him and Earl Spence, Terence Crawford, Earl Spence is a different circumstance than.
So is Shakur Stevenson? Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Shakur. Like,
is Shakur Stevenson not fighting mandatories? Because GM say what's crazy is Shakur is supposed to fight 2 mandos. Who is that?
Who's his man? He only has 1 mandatory. His mandatory is Zepeda.
They never called him mandatory though. They just gave the belt. That's it.
Yeah, he's.
If y'all go back to that video I made about Shakur Stevenson saying he would fight Gary Russell if the money right, and in the video I literally said, if the money right means I'm about to duck you. So I think it's crazy that now he putting a tweet out like, oh, basically I ain't fighting Zepeda because the money ain't right. Like that's just cold for I'm about to duck you.
I don't think so. I think Shakur feels like he's worth a certain amount of money. So like, which is fine. Like any fight should feel like they're worth something. So
He's not.
And maybe what he's worth, he
It
doesn't
is.
feel like he's getting. So I don't think there's
It
anything
is.
wrong with that.
It is
However,
too
when
much
it
You
came
can't
to
determine you can't sit up
So
here and
you
act
think
like
so,
you worth
Boxing
all
Hacker?
this
You think
money.
if the fight go to purse bid, he gonna get more or less?
he could get less, but I mean, it still doesn't change the fact that's how he feels. You know, that's who Shakur has been, I think, since the beginning. Like he feels like he's worth a certain
Business
amount
don't care
because who
about
he
your
is.
feelings, bro.
You
Business
know,
don't
I
Yeah,
mean,
Turkey won't want this to go to purse bids because look how he's handling the Bivol Benavides situation. He doesn't even want to bid on that fight because his entire attitude is if people don't step to my tune, then I don't want to do business with them. So he's not going to want this fight to go to purse bids. I mean, it's silly for Shakur to sit out and wait for it to go to purse bids anyway because Turkey's offering him fine money. I don't know what it is, but there's no reason for him to turn it down other than he just doesn't want to fight. And Cash Crypto, he's saying it. Go ahead.
yeah. So you said Turkey's offering fine money, but I don't know what it is. So how do you know it's offering good money if you don't know what it is?
That is such a dumb
It's
thing
all
to
bad logic right there, you know.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah,
I'm not going to.
What do you mean you don't know what it is? But
Oh my!
it's funny.
Look, I
know,
said I
it's
was
bad
going to.
logic.
Well, if you shut up for a second, I said I was going to ignore your dumb mouth today, but you keep on dragging me into it. I don't know exactly what he's been getting offered, but I know that the money he's getting offered is fine because Turkey offers big money. It's not that hard to understand.
Yeah,
but
so it's
Cash
bad
Crypto
logic,
is.
right?
Will you shut up for more than 5
It's a
seconds?
fallacy. I mean,
You don't know how. You don't know
Boxing
how.
Hacker,
You
come
don't
on
know
now.
how.
We're not
I'm sorry.
philosophizing today, bro.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. He's always calling me. I just want to point out what he's saying. The dilemma of what he's saying is crazy.
Well, no, the problem with that hacker is you double talk, right? And then when someone else reverses your double talk, you have a fit, right? So you're the one that's saying, everyone's making their biggest bag with Turkey. But then when Fight Sports says, oh, it's more money than he's made, how do you know that? How do you know that?
Yeah, because he's speaking flaciously, right? I mean, a fallacy, whether I'm Boxing Hacker or not, it's still a fallacy.
Their biggest bag. You're one of the main ones running around here saying that.
Sister Ty, he literally just sat here and told you, I don't know how much he's getting. He's getting fine money.
Boxing Hacker, I got you. Because Baker says, how much
that's crazy.
Is he really worth fighting the guys he's fighting? And that's what I'm saying. Like, y'all keep trying to overlook, like, oh, Shakur Stevenson worth this and worth that. Like, why? Who is the guy fighting? He just fought Padley, and he fought Padley because he didn't get to fight Kid Austin, who was a prospect. Like, who is he fighting where he deserved all this money, y'all?
So I mean, you have to look at Shakur. Yeah, look at him in totality, right? Like he's first Olympian.
No, we're not looking at it. Listen, stop.
But I mean, that's what he.
So why he ain't tweet that to Turkey? Why he ain't tweet that to Turkey when he said Turkey was lowballing? Why he ain't say I'm an Olympian, multi-division champion?
Yeah, but he said that in the past.
Why he ain't say all that in the tweet?
He's always spoken on that. Like if you look at
that shit,
what I've
don't
done,
matter. It don't
matter.
It does not matter, bro.
It doesn't matter right now. But on an undercard. He has all these accolades. He's such a great fighter. Why is he on a double undercard?
It was a stacked card. That's why. So it's stacked. A stacked card means everybody, multiple people on the card can be headlining their own cards. So it's not like it's not a bad look to be on a stack.
This magnitude, for the star that he thinks he is, a double undercard will suffice.
Yeah, like if you're on a stack card, it's a little bit different, right? It's not like just a regular card. It means that multiple people on that card can also headline their own card if they really want to. That's what he means by being stacked.
And so he could have headlined that card with Padley.
No. Bivol versus Beterbiev will always been a bigger fight.
And
the point is,
Ortiz versus Magimov wasn't a bigger fight.
Huh?
And Ortiz versus Magimov wasn't a bigger fight.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, he's on a double undercard, but he's such a star.
The brother feels like he's worth money. I mean, I don't know what you want him to feel like he's not worth money.
All right, this is the problem. This is the problem. Like, look, you talk over everyone, so for once you can shut up. Cash Crypto is he put it.
Boxing Hacker, let people talk.
Feel free.
Mute him and boot him.
I ain't saying nothing. I just good.
Yeah, Cash Crypto is he said it earlier in the chat that Shakur fighters like Shakur who don't bring in a ton of money think that they're worth more than they are, and once they get paid well, they don't want to step into the ring unless you can match what that big payday was. And for him, it was getting paid against Padley. So this there's been a problem in boxing forever, but now that the sport has gotten bigger and you have more people offering big money when it doesn't always justify it, and I've said before, all promoters from Frank Warren to Eddie Hearn to Al Heyman to Turkey have done this. They overpay fighters to entice them in. You get guys sitting out wanting to sit out and not fight unless you can match that big payday they got. And one of the reasons fighters can do this is because the sanctioning bodies aren't going to step in, and fighters like Eddie Hearn are going to say, well, if he's not going to fight for a big payday like he got against Padley, then I'm not going to try and waste my time to get him in there. So it's not just the fight. Fighters should sit out and wait for big paydays, but this is where the sanctioning bodies need to step in, because it's boxing at the end of the day. You need to get as much money as you can, but the sanctioning bodies and the promoters need to step in and say, look, I don't give a damn. You need to fight. Stop being a diva and thinking you can command 10 million every fight. So these problems have been going on in boxing forever, but the problem is
fight sports. Yeah. This is exactly what you're talking about is the problem that Turkey solved, correct? That's what everybody was running around, bouncing up and down on Turkey Johnson, saying, "Oh, we're not gonna have to worry about it. He gonna pay the fighters what they want, what they worth. He got all the money. They print money. They destroying their economy, printing money, paying for boxing fights." This is what everybody was saying.
Well, 2 cents. I wasn't one of them. I never said that Turkey was going to solve boxing. I mean, boxing can't be solved by one guy, let alone an outsider like Turkey Al-Sheikh. He brought enough money to make certain big fights happen, which we weren't getting before. But if he can't negotiate with fighters to say, look, I can't pay you. Look, I can pay you better than anybody else will pay you, but I can't pay you the absolute max every single time because I got to make money too, and so does everybody else on the card. Then, if he can't negotiate, then he's no better than all these other promoters who, again, can overpay you for a big fight, but they can't satisfy every fighter's wants every single time they fight. So yeah, right. I never said he was going to solve that, but I just liked what he was doing with the fights we weren't getting before.
Yeah, I know you didn't say he was going to solve it. I'm just making the point. Shout out to Windy City Assassin with the hold on. $2 in the super chat. He says, would Tank have been on that undercard or headline? Shout out Windy City Assassin.
You know, I feel like with a lot of this stuff, it just seems that, you know, from my point of view, they were treating Turkey like a lick, you know what I'm saying? And now, you know, he's trying to tighten the purse strings and they haven't fit. You know what I'm saying? If indeed that is what is actually happening. But you're right, Fight Sports. This is something that Eddie Hearns needs to be handling. Shakur shouldn't be on X in a tweet war with Oscar De La Hoya, which he will not win, by the way. Oscar is so petty. But that shouldn't be taking place at all.
And let me read this comment by Milan. Says this all boils down to signing to someone who doesn't have fighters for him also, and Bob was right, saying no one else was going to pay Shakur 15 mil for 5 fights, which is crazy. Let me tell you what I think happened, right? I think, do y'all remember when Shakur Stevenson tweeted out, he's tweeted out something to the effect like, Bob not even running the company, they trying to kick him out and this and that, and they trying to basically have a hostile takeover. Y'all remember that?
When he was about to leave Top Rank, I remember.
I feel like Shakur Stevenson got wind that PBC and Top Rank were going to be joining forces and working together, and he ran from all the smoke. You know how much smoke Top Rank got at 35 right now? Shakur Stevenson could be fighting.
He ran from who?
And then they team up with PBC. It's gonna be some hella fire fights that's gonna be made if the partnership is working how we think it's gonna work. So then he runs. Hold on. So then he runs off. He takes a lay of the landscape, and then he runs over to where? To Matchroom, who has what? No damn 35 pounders. So much so that the first fight that they was about to give you was a 130 pounder that they was bringing up. And then you want to say, oh, well, he can go over there. Eddie Hearn don't got no problems making the fights with whoever, but still, he went over there to make cross promotional fights. So then they say, well, he went over there to get the bag because Turkey got all the money. And we fast forward to now, Turkey lowballing him. It's like no matter where you turn, it doesn't make sense.
But hold on one second. Remember one thing though. Remember one thing. He went to a place where both his number one contender and his number two contender are. You know that, right? Both Andy Cruz and Zepeda literally work with Turkey as well. So like, it's hard to say that. You know, I think it's a very tricky situation. I feel like anybody at top rank, like Shakur is pretty much one of the top fighters at 35. I can't imagine who else he would actually be running from.
Because you just say he went over there where Turkey has. Is he with Eddie or he's with Turkey?
I mean, the people that would have or even have a chance to become his mandatory is 1 and 2. So his 1 and 2 are Zepeda and Andy Cruz right now, right? Those are his 1 and 2.
Okay, Zepeda is where?
So Zepeda ducks. Andy Cruz has the right to.
Zepeda is with Oscar.
Zepeda is with where?
Yeah, but Oscar also works with Turkey.
We're not talking about where is he signed. This is the word
he's signed with Oscar De La Hoya. So, but he works with Turkey.
And his 1 and 2 is with who? Who is his one signed?
And his 2 is with Eddie Hearn.
Okay,
so that's the same. Yeah. So those are his 1 and 2. Yeah.
Why he ain't fight him yet?
Well, Zepeda's obviously they're going through this situation right now.
Why he ain't fight his number 2? Remember before you were saying, well, if the number
his
1
number 2 never activated. He has to go through to Zepeda first. Like he's still the one who can activate a mandatory status.
Hold on, Boxing Hacker. Shout out Coach Eddie on the panel.
Happy Sunday, Coach Eddie.
Hey,
Coach Eddie, what's your
how y'all
doing?
What
What you got for
Coach
the
Eddie?
show?
What's up,
Coach?
Man, I'm gonna tell
Coach
you like
Eddie,
this.
hold on. Before we get started, Coach Eddie, was that you telling me Joey Spencer was gonna beat Tim?
Man, that's what I was talking about, man. That dude got obliterated, man. I said, God dang, man.
I say, Coach Eddie, hell no, Joey Spencer.
I thought he was gonna at least do something, man. That cat like he didn't even
It was a horrible style matchup for him.
But you know, I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna get my manager Marty on real quick for about 30 seconds, then I'm gonna jump on the Shakur thing.
All right.
Them doggone every last MX gloves. You see how bad that boy face got messed up that quick?
Yep.
That's them goddamn horsehair gloves right there.
Mm.
The horsehair gloves is no joke. It's the equivalent of a bare knuckle. I mean,
he wasn't punching.
Huh? Man, yeah, exactly. It was like Tim was hitting him with bare knuckles. That's why his face got messed up so quick. That dude like he had been in a 15-round fight in 4 rounds.
That's
but he was getting pounced on though. He was getting
but his face got marked up really fast. I was like, it's just a 1 or 2 round.
I'm telling you, it's though. I'm like I said, I'm on my manager Marty. I look at I said, what kind of glove this kid had on? First thing I looked at was to do hand wraps. I noticed the hand wraps was super duper tight, which they always are. I said that dude got a cast on. And then I looked at it and I seen that freaking little Mexican eagle or whatever. I said those everlast MX gloves. That's why his face looked like that. Nobody should be allowed to wear those gloves. They should be outlawed from the sport of boxing.
The quote unquote punches gloves.
They're horsehair.
Yeah.
They're horsehair gloves.
Shout out Tony with the $1 in the super chat. He says for the cook. Shout out Tony.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, either way, he was gonna get cooked either way. But I just said, dang man, it explains why the dude was looking like that when I seen those gloves. Shakur is
throwing no punches back.
Nothing. Because he was hitting with bare knuckles. He was getting hit with a freaking fist. Shakur is ducking.
Uh-oh.
That's all I'm gonna say. The man is ducking the smoke. He don't want to fight nobody. This is like a car salesman who thinks he's supposed to make $10,000 profit off of every car that he sells. It ain't so. If you that bad, man, fight the man and get it over with and move on to the next, man. You know, every time. I mean, Shakur is like, first of all, he don't really bring no entertainment value to the sport. If he was the freaking headliner, where he gonna sell out at? Maybe his own hometown. That's it. Shakur is overestimating his entertainment value because it ain't really much there anyway. He's not a likable person as far as the boxing, and he has a history of running off on the plug. He could have fought Devin, ducked that smoke. He could have fought this guy. It's always an excuse with this guy. He been running his mouth about William Cepeda for years. You finally get an opportunity to take the fight. Oh, it ain't enough money. Man, just go ahead and knock the man off and keep it moving. They overpaid you anyway when you fought Josh Padley. I mean, y'all know you got your minimum, but as long as they're giving you your minimum, go ahead and fight the guy and move on to the next. Shakur don't want to fight nobody. That's all it is to it. And watch what his next fight be. Shakur had a history of turning down big fights, then going into smaller fights and hurting his hands. You're gonna hurt your hand on a regular guy just as well as you are on a top-notch guy. So you might as well fight the best guy while you hurt your hand. So Shakur, he's a duck. That's my opinion.
I never heard you say that.
I've been saying this and I've been pointing this out, but nobody. What I said, Shakur is going to be fighting another light punching European. That's what he's probably going to be fighting next.
I don't think
you boxing hacker on here talking about he about to fight. He gonna fight Gary Russell at 140 or T.O. No, the hell he not. No, he's not.
So I want to go back.
You don't like Shakur scared anybody. You know.
Just hold on. Shout out to Mr. Greg on the panel.
What up, Mr. Greg?
What up, Mr. Greg? What's your 2 cents? What you got for the show?
I happen to just come in as Coach Eddie was talking about the MX gloves. Yes, those are punchers' gloves for punchers. And if you were watching that fight, you understand why fighters who don't necessarily have this big name but can punch a little bit, how they can look so much better. What they do. Y'all saw it last night. A lot of people aren't understanding, and those weren't even full horsehair gloves. So imagine somebody who could really punch, who had the full horsehair glove, because the MX are a combination of foam and horsehair. But you saw how soft they are. You saw how easily you can see the knuckles and feel the knuckles when somebody is punching you. Imagine somebody with some speed and power. That's what's going to happen to your face. That's why some states don't allow it. Other states do. Talking about Shakur, you're 100% right, and we talked about that earlier. There is no real plan for Shakur because he can't really compete with his bad hands, not his skill set, but with his bad hands against some of the very top elite in his division, because they put him in there with somebody. He's already don't have great hands in the first place in terms of sustaining the impacts from his punches. So suppose he's in there with a guy like a Tank, or not just Tank, anybody who can take punches like even Pitbull and can punch back. Can you imagine how compromised Shakur would be, particularly where I don't even think his hands are healed yet? So that's why they're moving him around. They got to move him around, like you just said, with lighter puncher guys, because that's where he's compromised at. They got to put him in there that somebody's not going to hurt him too badly. And down the road, I guess they're going to have to eventually take the risk and put him in the ring with somebody who could really do something with him. When that's going to happen, I don't know. But I can tell you the money he's asking for is probably because he wants to have enough of a bag put away, hopefully, that when he does get these harder, tougher, bigger fights, and more than likely, if he doesn't lose, get badly hurt because he can't keep the guys off of him and he can't sustain himself, he can, at least have a little money. That's my feeling about Shakur, because all this moving around and then talking like you like that, but then they're not moving you and putting you in the ring in the same way is very telling. That's my 2 cents for Shakur for the moment. And how is that?
Mr. Greg with his 2 cents. Y'all go check out Lost in the Sauce and Lost in the Sauce Part 2 on my channel. We are covering the Shakur Stevenson saga. Go check out those 2 videos. And I recorded a new video today about this, and I'm gonna drop that too, because we're gonna keep track of the saga. I'm gonna have it all in chronicle order on my page. What's going on? But I just think I think Mr. Greg's absolutely right. I think they do have a plan for Shakur, and this is the plan to either try to find a way to put him on the shelf for time for him to heal his hands, or to put up a narrative and have an excuse for him to fight another light punching European. D-Town Funk say Mason looked terrible last night, needs new training team or his ass gonna get effed up at the next level. Mason fought a real live tomato can and the can lasted 6 whole rounds. Just terrible. Let me say this about Abdullah Mason, right? Abdullah Mason came on the interview. He said he's the next face of boxing, and it's cool. I like his confidence. But let's also keep in mind Abdullah Mason is 20 years old, right? And I think what happens is you got fans like Boxing Hacker who believes things like matchmaking is cherry picking. And this is a perfect example of what we're talking about, where we're saying building a fighter, bringing them up, matchmaking them, letting them get the experience. Abdullah Mason is still very new, right? He's what, 20 years old? And he has a lot of things that he still needs to work on. His
21st birthday was yesterday.
Okay, he's 21. His defense is leaky. Like Tyler Drakeford was saying, he has his hands down. And he has time to improve and fix those things. And maybe D-Town Funk is right. Maybe he does need a new training team. But when y'all start doing things like, oh, he could beat Tank. Oh, he could beat Shakur. Oh, he could beat all these people. And y'all start doing that to fighters so early. And then that turns into, oh, he ain't fighting nobody. He ain't fighting nobody. He ain't fighting nobody. And he's not at that level yet. He's still being built. He's still being cultivated. He's still gaining experience. And when y'all do that to those fighters, it just it's unnecessary and it's undue pressure, because let them get time to get built up to where they get to championship level and they're ready to fight those fighters. And Shakur Stevenson has came out and told y'all himself how Top Rank does things. Did I erase it?
But wait a minute. On that note, right? All I'm saying is, for instance, Abdullah Mason is ranked like number 7, right? In the, I think it's WBA maybe. I can't remember. But he's ranked like number 7. If he can't beat the number 8 guy, or he's not ready for a number 8 guy, then maybe he shouldn't be number 7. You know, that's what I'm saying.
Who said that he's not ready for those particular fighters?
I'm not saying that. So this is what I'm saying when it comes to matchmaking. Like, at the end of the day, like, it should be, I feel like it should just be based on ranking, you know?
That's because you don't know what you're talking about. Shout out to Thomas Hill on the panel.
That's literally what you're doing.
What up, Thomas? What's your you got for the show? But let me read this real quick. Top Rank is great at building fighters, but fans get that very confused, where they watch prospect fight guys way below their level and compare them with champions. But fans don't realize why Top Rank would never make fights with them champions is because they understand boxing and the business. But I brought that tweet up to make it a point that these promoters have to build up their fighters. Like, just because I'm ranked number 7, I may not be ready for the number 6 guy right now.
But you should be ready for number 8 guy.
No, I shouldn't be. You can't tell me what I should be ready for.
You shouldn't be number 7.
Boxing is.
You see the problem? Then you're not number 7. How you ranked over, but you're not ready for the guy below you? Right? If I'm the champion, how can I not be ready for the number 1 contender? Champion should be. You're the champion. You're supposed to be the best one in that division.
But you just said that.
And this is why I said those trinkets don't mean anything. This is exactly why I said those trinkets don't mean a damn thing. Then you agree with what I'm saying, Ty. That at the end of the day, all this stuff is not good for boxing. All the matchmaking, all this stuff is not actually really good for boxing in general. It's cherry picking. You're literally doing when you matchmake is looking for somebody because the rankings
that will be fine. That the rankings
match your style. Not the hardest fighter.
The thing with the rankings though is you can petition to be ranked. You can backdoor and pay to be ranked. Yep. It's not like somebody is just definitively sitting there judging your skill and then ranking you. It's I can go petition to be ranked somewhere. That doesn't necessarily mean I was good enough to be there.
Then you don't belong there. That's the problem, right? If you're not able to compete with the next guy up or the next guy below you, you don't really belong in that ranking.
Boston Hacker, I'm gonna tell you the flaw of your argument, man. Yeah, first of all, because you could be.
Go ahead, Coach Eddie. You on mute?
Oh, my bad. You could be ranked number 1 in one body and not be ranked at all in the other one. So what are you talking about, man?
Yeah, and that's true. But I'm talking about within your own sanctioning body, right? If I'm ranked number 1 but I can't fight the number 2 guy, then why am I number 1?
If you really want to get down to it, half of those people you don't even know who they are that are in these rankings, man. I mean, you can literally read the top 10, and so you don't know. They just pop guys in there, man.
Yeah, they can be
just like Aldi Yildirim jumped off the couch, been out of the ring for 18 months, and magically he's the number 1 contender for Canelo right off the couch,
which is crazy. Yeah, all
that was just WBC corruption.
That's just the business of boxing, and your manager is automatically trying to get you ranked because he's trying to put you in a position where you can make more money. That's how that's one of the big things about ranking. But I wanted to also say about Abdullah Mason and his fight last night. That is just the kind of fight, even though it was a guy who's being called a tomato can, that's just what he needs right now at this stage of his career. They need to see how he was going to respond. They saw how he responded to being knocked down a couple of times. They saw how he fought last night. That's what you need to have early in your career, because they probably thought the guy was going to be a little bit easier, and it turned out he wasn't, or they thought he was going to be a little slicker, or whatever the case may be. But you need those kinds of troublesome fights very early, because as you move up and start fighting better competition, you at least have the experience that you need to deal with the better competition as you move up. So I really feel bad about when guys who are highly ranked as they moving up, people expect them to be killers right away. You know that's the wrong way to look at the fighter. The fighter is the
shout out. Oh, my bad, Mr. Greg. I thought you was
Band Up is backstage. I don't know if I want to bring him up.
Shout out Band Up on the panel. I put that picture up for you, Band Up, for your intro.
Oh God, we're talking about Terrence again, eh?
No, we're not. That was for Band Up for his intro.
Hey, but isn't that picture so dope? Like that picture is dope as hell. That is what a Bud fan would want. Oh my God, that gotta go.
You need help. You need help, Band Up.
What's your 2 cents, Band Up? What you got for the show?
Oh, no, I've been here the whole time. I've been following along what you guys have been saying. You know what I mean? Coming into you guys' commentary. I don't think Shakur's lowball. I think Shakur just prideful and he's betting on his skills. But I got a question though. So, like, you know, I don't know a lot of all this stuff. But what's you guys' definition of building up a fighter? Because I hear like you guys talking about build up a fighter, this, that, and the other. But if he says somebody's name that's above him, oh, you're tying your name to him. Oh, you're just using his name to get up. But I'm kind of confused. If he's beating everybody that he's going against and he's still saying his name and the top guy's name, kind of like how kind of Keyshawn was with Tank a little bit. He really didn't say Tank's name at first, you know what I mean? But he started winning and winning and winning. Now he's saying Tank's name. It's, now you're trying to, you know what I mean, attach your name to Tank? Nah, he's calling out who he think he's going to beat up, right? Isn't that kind of like how you do it?
We're saying you're attaching your name to Tank because you're not about to fight him. No time soon.
So pretty much don't say it unless you're fighting.
That's what all fighters do. It's what all fighters do. I mean, they all got attached their name.
If I'm on record, I hate that.
To keep their name relevant. Brian Norman doing it to Boots. Every top ranked fighter doing it to Tank in the 35 division. Like half the 40 fighters doing it to Tank. They're all attaching their name to the biggest name available. Like
okay. So with that being said, okay, I'm not trying to bring my guy up. But with that being said, was it bad for Bud and EJ to go on for as many years as they went on, you know, backstage, you know what I mean, where the case may be, and on in videos for it to be 5 years down the line and it was a big fight? You know what I mean? It was a lot of buildup, or is that too damn long?
Nobody said it was bad.
It was bad and good because EJ ended up, you know, people say that EJ is not the same, you know. Like sometimes
it was bad because of things that could take place within that amount of time.
Yeah,
that may not make the fight as good as it could have been when the fighters were in their prime, type of thing. But it could also be good because it's a big build up. It's for undisputed. You know, Earl then went around, collected them belts one at a time. It's a great story. It's a great build up. It's a great conclusion to a saga. You get what I'm saying? But there has to be a healthy balance, right? Like, you don't want to wait too long, let life get in the way, but you don't want to make it too quick.
Yeah, like the Shakur and Tank fight should definitely happen soon, man.
Nobody cares about Shabuto. But to answer your
Wait,
question,
Tank fans don't want that to happen for whatever reason, but that
because
fight
I
needs
don't
to
want to be
happen.
bored to sleep. That's
Hold on,
why.
y'all let Thomas Hill. What's your 2 cents? Did you get your 2 cents, Thomas Hill?
Nah, I never got my 2 cents. It got switched up when he was about to introduce me as a 2 cents. But I
Oh,
want to
go
say
ahead,
this.
go ahead.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. I know people come up here to get their 15 minutes, so I'm gonna let them have more. But I just wanted to say this: that as far as people building up fighters, you build up fighters by putting them in fights that's gonna help them see various styles. On top of that, you build them up by giving them promotion, and then you give them illusions of fights so you can build the intrigue behind them. Nothing wrong with what they're doing. Only thing is wrong is when they start saying what they say, knowing dang well they have no intention on following through. And that's what's been plaguing this new crop of boxing for the longest. To me, I think that they should be calling out the people, but I think they should be doing it the way they did it back in the days. And that's by bigging up them people, but then also stepping to their events, showing support, but then at the event, be talking about like, yeah, that was a great performance, but I would love to test my metal in the ring with them. That's how they used to get the fights done. And then before then, they was fighting because it was a means of feeding your family. Now you get paid a lot. You don't have to worry about as many fights. But one thing I will say in particular, since Tank name was brought up, given the climate of this new crop of boxing, which 5 fights, no matter what division they come from, would you like for people to make and put on so we could see? If there was 5, I would like everybody on the panel's opinion on that, because it's interesting to see which fights we want to be made and want to see.
All right, hold on. Shout out Andre Pitts with the $5 in the Cash App. He says, for what Shakur actually worth. Ew. Shout out
Damn, that's
Andre
hilarious.
Pitts.
So Thomas, you mean including Tank or just excluding Tank?
I'm talking about in all of boxing. If we could have
I
our
want
way.
to see Terrence Crawford versus Jamel Charlo. I want to see. Let me think. Y'all can name them too. I ain't gonna go
I
back.
want to see. I
I
want to see
wanted to go first.
Andrade versus Jamal Charlo. That's a fight that shouldn't have happened a long time ago. Both of them are in the same category, that 35 and up. Let's get it on. Yeah, I want to see that
I
fight.
would like to see Canelo Benavidez.
I was about to say I would like to see Canelo Benavidez. I want to see Abdullah versus one of the Vargas brothers. More recently, I think this is just because he's getting on my nerves, but I want to see Caleb Plant do Edward Berlanga dirty.
I want to see Caleb Plant versus Boots. I think that'd be a great style matchup.
Caleb Plant versus
Caleb Plant
Boots.
versus Boots?
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't
Man,
Boots
but I'm about to kick
47?
you off my panel.
So what?
Wrong weight class, champ.
What?
Wrong weight class.
Where's Plant at?
68.
Oh,
Hey, I
no,
think
I'm
that
sorry.
dude. I
I'm
think
not
that
talking
dude
about Plant. I'm
Genevieve
talking
is a
about what's
problem.
it called? Connor Ben. I'm sorry, I get them two mixed up all the time.
Connor
What?
Connor
Ben,
Ben,
I'm
the
gonna feel
50.
like
The dude that got caught for the PEDs, right? Over there.
he
No, you
won
got caught with eggs.
stand
Yeah,
up.
right, buddy.
One more time.
You got caught with
Ben is
eggs. At PET.
147.
Hey,
I
I
can't hear
want
you
to
at
see.
the same
Of course,
time.
I want to see Shakur wash Tank.
I want to
Of
see Keyshawn versus Andy.
I want to
Boots,
see
Boots versus. I want to see Boots versus Brian Norman. I want to see that fight.
I
Keyshawn
think,
versus
I
Andy
think
Cruz.
Boots gonna kill Brian Norman.
Shakur versus Andy Cruz is actually interesting to me as well. I think those are good.
I want to see Frank versus De Los Santos.
I still want to see Crawford beat the socks off Charlo.
Yeah, I want to see Charlo versus Crawford.
That's
That would be a good
that's
fight.
a great fight. Charlo versus they already have the backstory for that fight. But I would like to see that. I want to see Benavidez versus Canelo. I do. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay because some of the fights that have been said. I
Anyway,
want
I
to
don't
see
know
as
who.
well.
I feel like
I mean, I don't care. Well, I don't know how the hell it's ever gonna get done. Shakur and Tank is still a good fight to me. I still got to see Shakur Tank.
I want to see Ryan fight Boots.
Do you?
I would have.
Yeah, I think that's
That's
enough.
enough.
I don't know.
2 cents. Ryan's don't throw enough. Boots is gonna clean him out.
I don't
I mean,
know.
we gotta know. We gotta see.
Ryan do not throw enough to keep Boots off of him.
We gotta see it,
Let's
brother.
go.
We gotta
But
see
Boots,
it.
Let's come back here
just,
when
this the thing. Boots just can't be rushing in. He gotta be very careful in that fight.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Ryan do
That'll
shoot
be
that left
interesting. I think that'll be
like he
interesting,
on
actually.
something with that. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's versatile enough to handle Boots.
yeah, we'll see how
Right.
Yeah,
Boots does.
because that
I don't
southpaw
know.
style is going to negate that left hook if you know how to work it right.
I'll just throw a
Just think about,
unique.
when you think about Ryan and Boots, think about it like this: if Boots was to
that's an
lose two
interesting
rounds, just 2 rounds in a row, how the hell would Ryan do that?
Huh?
You
I
say that
said,
again,
think about it like this: if Boots and Ryan was in a fight and Boots was to lose 2 rounds back to back, how the hell would that happen?
I think Boots will make Ryan quit. I think he'll make him quit.
I don't know.
I think he'll make him quit.
I favor Boots. Yeah, I have to
I think
favor
it'll be
Boots.
interesting. I ain't
I think
saying
it'll be
Ryan
interesting,
gonna beat
yeah.
him. I just want to. I think
That
that's
ain't a
that's
bad.
a crazy
Yeah,
style
that's actually a
matchup.
decent little fight. I'd watch
That's
that.
a crazy.
I think
style.
Ryan will. I think he will quit in that fight. I think he'll quit. He'll pull a Tank Davis and he'll
Yeah,
quit.
Coach,
Ryan's not gonna. Ryan's not gonna
dedicated,
jump.
right?
Ryan's not gonna jump up to welterweight and be successful immediately. That's
just
too big of a jump
hypothetical.
too.
It's hypothetical.
Yeah,
You know what else
I'll
I
just throw.
wouldn't mind watching? I wouldn't mind watching Tio and Devin or Tio in Africa. Either or is fine.
I think Tio
Yeah.
loses both fights. Actually,
I'm gonna tell you something.
Yeah, me too.
I'd like to throw one. I'd like to throw one different fight in here that no one's mentioned yet. I'd like to see Joseph Parker challenge Alexander Usyk.
Yeah, that's a good match. Yep.
A lot of what I'm hearing though is a lot of cross promotions fights. I think that most of the intrigue is going from fighters from different quote unquote sides of the streets. And I think that with latest news, we're starting to see more possibility of these fights being made because now they're willing to partner up or to work with one another. I think we're going to start seeing these fights if the demand for these fights is good. So that means we got to start pressing for the fights instead of pressing against a certain fighter or pressing for a certain fighter. I think we disrespect the sport and the fighters when we do that because we end up, for no reason at all, disparaging one side, one group, one fighter for the sake of another. We need to get past that to the point where we clamor for the fights and we want the fights and we will do anything to promote the fights being made. And I think the way we do that is by a unified front to put a demand for fights being made that are good, in spite of wherever you may be at, whatever side of the street you may be on. That's why it was interesting to hear the answers.
I still want to see Errol. I still want to see Errol and Boots.
I want to mention something real quick. Did y'all know that nobody said Shakur's name? Nobody.
No,
it wasn't one Shakur fight in there.
Hold on. Did you notice?
Two people did. Somebody said they want to see Shakur.
Hold on. Not one person said Bud and Canelo. Not even you, man.
Not one person.
In my mind, that fight's already done deal. Yo, hold on, and I got some heat for you 2 cents. Hey, do not bring that up because I was thinking about something the other day, and I got some heat for your ass when it comes to that one.
What?
The only people
I realized the trend. I realized the trend when it comes to Bud Crawford in certain big fights, whatever the case may be. You were saying the other day. I thought real hard about it too. You said Canelo ain't even saying nothing about the fight, right? How do we know it's actually gonna go down, right? And at the same time, we see my guy Crawford putting on all this extra weight. Didn't everybody say that same shit when they was in the negotiation with Spence? Oh, it ain't gonna go down. Well, we gonna wait for Spence to say something. And then Spence ended up coming out saying something, and what happened? The fight still went on. So why the hell ain't you gonna take Crawford's word if Crawford's sitting here proving it with his actions and saying it with his words that the fight's gonna happen? Why do we have to wait for Canelo's magic word for that to be the case? Why do we have to wait for Spence's magic word to be the case? I understand the A side, but this dude, no, what I'm telling you is I get all that A side, B side.
Because
Bud is not doing this for no reason, though.
Because Bud does bad faith negotiations, and we don't know if he'll run off and do something else. We don't know what Bud is capable of doing. We don't know what Turkey is capable of doing. Now, all of a sudden, Turkey lowballing fighters. So it's not a knocker or negative on Bud if I'm saying I'm just going to wait until the fight is announced because we don't know what Canelo gonna do. He don't look like he's too enthusiastic about making the fight. He's not talking about it. Hold on, y'all not finna talk over me. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what's going on. So what I'm not about to do is sit here and be all excited or I know this fight gonna happen, and then some bullshit happen and we don't get the fight. I'm just going to wait till it's confirmed. Mr. Greg, a whole Bud fan, and he feel the exact same way I do.
Yep.
So
Like
that-
you keep
Yeah, and
trying to
I'm a-
make this like I got some type of personal vendetta or something personal. No, it's just common sense. I'm not the only person that feel this way, and that's what I was trying to tell you in the Discord.
But most
Bandit,
parties are saying that's
Bandit,
gonna happen.
what I would
Turkey
say
saying
is
it's
that
happening.
Canelo could
Crawford
lose
saying
this
it's happening.
fight, or it could be a draw. So
I
we
feel like
never know.
Canelo's
Right?
even
Hold on,
hinted
y'all.
at that.
Shout
I
out
can't hear
Dub
you. I can't hear you
Brightside.
guys.
Hold on, y'all. Shout out Dub Brightside on the panel. What up, Dub Brightside? What's your 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Well, the first thing, shout out to my sister, Christine, everybody on the panel. Y'all out of order tonight.
Special.
I gotta calm down, man. Let's get a bars off. But I will say, just listening to the conversation, yeah, we gotta see if this fight is gonna be made. We hit and it gotta be on paper. But
You going in and out. You going in and out, Dub.
oh y'all, give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a quick
Your mic is
While
out
you
of
get
order.
that
Chad.
second, we
Your
know
mic is
that
out
we
of
gotta
order.
say when Canelo officially stamps it, because he's the man that's really the only boxer in this sport right now who can call his own shots. So that's why.
Listen to what
Well, the
Milan
reason-
say. Canelo already got his money set. He's not going to fight Bud. Laugh out loud. He's done it to PBC with David, did it to the Zone, and with Laura. Laugh out loud. And see, that's what I'm saying. Like you,
I'll take that bet. I'm pretty sure that fight's happening.
Listening.
I'm like,
I know what it is. From what I see is like this. We ain't got no other even name. If I asked you guys right now, if not Canelo, who would be Crawford's thing? Nobody would really give me an answer. So I see this.
I'd rather
So I
see
see
him
this.
fight
So look. Let me finish.
Sure.
Let me finish. So look, I see this guy putting on all this extra. If that's the case, putting on fighting Charlo, he still wouldn't have to do all this extra weight that he's putting on. Terrence Crawford is doing this for a reason. He's not doing this for no reason. He's not being 190 for no reason.
But Bandit, I think what they're trying to say is he may be under the assumption he's going to fight Canelo, but at the end of the day, Canelo can maybe pull a Houdini. I think that's the point that they're trying to make. He can be under the assumption he's going to fight Canelo all he wants. But at the end of the day, Canelo can damn well pull out because it's not like he doesn't have a pattern of doing so.
What if Canelo loses?
And also band up another thing, and I say this like Mr. Greg, I'm a fan of Crawford, but he's been so inactive since beating Errol Spence that he's shown if he doesn't want to fight for whatever reason, he won't do it. So he'll happily take these long layoffs. So if something doesn't go right in the negotiations, if he doesn't get the money he wants, then he'll just sit out for longer than he already has. So that's another reason why people are skeptical. But no, this fight it's just a placeholder. We want to be seeing Bud against the rest of the light middleweight division, or Boots Ennis, or Virgil Ortiz, and he's fighting none of them. We want to see Crawford against Benavidez, but he's dragged everyone's feet for God knows how long. So this is just a replacement fight that nobody really asked for.
I understand.
He's waiting until September, and he's not really sitting out. He's in pre-camp, right? That's why he's gaining his weight and doing all those. He's doing all that weightlifting, so he's preparing to go into
sitting out. Boxing Hacker. What did you? Not
really.
About? He's not having a fight. He's sitting out. Stop.
No, he already mentioned why he's not taking any fights before Canelo. He said he doesn't want anything to like interfere and mess up the Canelo fight. So he's
no. The reason why he's not taking the fight because he don't want to run the chance of looking bad.
Yeah,
he jumped over a whole division, brother. He jumped over 2 divisions.
Whoa. Yeah,
he don't want anything to happen before that Canelo fight. I mean, to me,
Actually, you're just being a contrarian again.
So what you think, contrarian? I have an opposing view. If that's what you mean, yes.
No, you just what happened? What happens?
I'm saying what Bud said. He literally said why he's not taking a fight until Canelo. He said he wants to be in training until it.
He said he wants to run through a couple cycles with Victor.
Yeah, no, he didn't say that. We gotta talk about that because I watched that video. You didn't make me watch that video.
We're gonna have to talk about it on Boxing Hacker 2. Yeah, everybody come back 2 cents after dark on Tuesday because me and Boxing Hacker gonna chit chat about the Hall of Shame documentary.
Yeah.
Because
What?
it's running up on 7
What?
o'clock. I'm about to have to get off. I'm gonna go around the panel, let everybody get their final 2 cents off. We could start with you, Fight Sports Talk. What's your final 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Well, first of all, on Tuesday, because I'm in New Zealand, so massive time difference. What time will you be going live?
What time is it there for you now? It's 10:30 p.m. my time.
It's midday here.
So let's say it's 7 o'clock here, 7 p.m. here right now.
Yeah. So what time do you go live? 5
10:30.
p.m.
10:30.
Is that Eastern time or
No,
Eastern
that's-
time, Central time,
no.
or
11:30 Eastern. Her time
Right.
right now she's an hour behind Eastern time.
all right?
7
Thanks.
o'clock our time, 8 o'clock our time.
Yeah, shout out to Richard in the chat who asked the question, why do we tolerate this? What Shakur's doing? Well, the same reason why fans tolerate ducking of some fighters and have done for years, and they don't tolerate ducking when it comes to other fighters. It's or most people have selective memory, so it's going to continue to happen unless the sanctioning bodies step up, unless the promoters step up, but they won't do that. And yeah, I was praising Turkey when he first came into the sport, but we're seeing the problems already. Some of these fighters at least will sit out for the big payday, hoping that they can get it every single time. And if they can't get it, they'll sit out because they've got money to spare. So yeah, it's going to be a problem, but we'll just continue to talk about it. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Peace,
All right,
Fight
Fight Sport Talk. Teach, what's your final 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Yeah, so again, back to the point that was made earlier, with boxing hacker and fight sports. Like fans can't negotiate behalf of fighters, right? Like we don't know the exact numbers that Turkey changed or how significantly the purse dropped, right? So again, it's not in our place to tell a fighter like what they should accept. Now, if real numbers were put in public, then that would be a different story. Like we saw with Brian Norman Jr. and Booth, right? At that point, we could have a debate about it. I would say, if I were to throw an example out there, for me, if Shakur was making 2.5 against Padley, and they dropped it to 1.5 million to fight Cepeda, I would say, hey, Shakur, take that fight. That's what I would say. But if they dropped it to something like 500K, then I would think more about that. Like that's a low ball. If it was like 500K, yeah. So that to the other topic where you guys discuss matchmaking. So again, with matchmaking, I think it's necessary. You gotta build these fighters smartly. You gotta create big fights at the right time. You gotta make exciting matchups as you're building these fighters. And obviously, what Shakur posted in the tweet, you gotta protect the business interests, right? So Abdullah is at a point where he could fight pretty much ranked guys, and that's what they pretty much were going to do with the Giovanni fight. They're going to start him with a lower tier ranked fighter, but he's in the WBC. I mean, he could fight the guy above him right now, which is like a Cordina. I think Cordina is at 7, so that would be an interesting fight for Abdullah. And again, like the cons of matchmaking, again, would be the cherry picking. Like we all hate cherry picking, right? At some point, these guys gotta fight, tougher competition. And as for the 5 fights that I would want to see, I would want to see Shakur versus Cepeda. I got Shakur in that fight. Shakur versus Tank. I got Shakur in that fight. Fundora versus Bud. I got Fundora in that fight. Canelo versus Benavidez. I would have to think about that. And the last one would be Tank and Tio. And I got Tank in that fight. And that's it for me.
Hey, Teach, you got anybody beating Shakur? You got anybody beating him?
Nah, nobody's beating Shakur.
I ain't mad at you.
All right,
Teach,
Teach, thank you for coming up and giving your 2 cents for the show. Guys, I'm at 73 likes. The goal is 100 before we get off this live. Be sure to punch that like button. Be sure to help support the channel by hitting the Cash App 2 cents boxing or hitting the super chat. Dub right side, Mr. Respectfully. What's your final 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Man, my apologies, sis. I pulled up late tonight. Man, I apologize to you. Mike out of order. I'm all the way out of order coming up on your show, man. So, but nah, got a chance to listen to a few things y'all were talking about earlier, and as far as the matchmaking situation goes, hey, look, you got to build fighters accordingly, and so I can't be too mad at none of that. When we talking about if Bud gonna get the actual fight with Canelo, I think that fight will happen. It goes right into what Canelo does as far as pulling up smaller fighters, and in this situation, he got a chance to pull up a individual who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's going to do it, so I believe that fight going to happen. But sis, man, keep doing your thing, and I'm gonna catch you early. I promise, I'm gonna catch you early so I can come cook with you. Shout out to everybody.
Look, I'm on. Let me tell you the schedule, right? Fridays I'm on from 6:30 until Sundays I'm on 5 to 7 p.m. Tuesday,
hold on, you central time, right? You central time.
I'm in Houston, so whatever time that is.
You central. I'm Eastern. Okay, so all right, say it one more time for me.
Friday night 6:30 p.m.
Okay.
Sundays from 5 to 7, 6. And Tuesday nights at 10:30.
I got you.
That's the schedule, so that's where I'm gonna be. You ain't gotta try to keep checking online. I got a schedule for you.
Hey, I appreciate it.
All right, Coach Eddie. What's your final 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Final 2 cents is y'all take with a grain of salt what I said about Joey Spencer. I said, man, this man got he got demolished, man. I said, dang, the kid had no head movement. I mean, he got friggin' beat. He pummeled, but at the same time, just to add to that, like I said, I'm on my manager Marty. Them gloves, man, look fishy. You know what I'm saying? That's I'm leave it at that.
He had some magic gloves. He had them magic.
Yeah, he had some magic gloves and some magic wraps, man. Because the way that kid face busted up so quickly in a 4-round fight. Didn't he stop with fourth round, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this kid like he'd been through a 15-round war. So it's something about those type of gloves that just, especially if you can already punch, that just inflicts maximum damage. Far as Shakur is gonna wind up sitting on the shelf, or he's gonna wind up not getting the fights that he wants, because he's always clamoring for saying he wants certain things, and then when he gets those fights offered to him, he wants the A side or whoever offer him to fight. Not saying that's paid as an A side, but he wants all these concessions. He wants the perfect deal. And sometimes you're not going to get the perfect deal. You're not going to win all the time. But if you can go ahead and, knock up on a few $1 million, go ahead and knock out William Cepeda and keep it moving. Because like I said the other day, boxers are a dime a dozen. And there's a lot of talent. It's a lot more people that people would like to see than Shakur. He's a great fighter, great skills, but he does not have what we call the mass appeal. He doesn't have mass appeal. Nobody's sitting there other than Shakur Stevenson hardcore fans are sitting there clamoring, waiting for this guy to fight. I mean, that's just not in our mind. In my mind, at least. I mean, like I said, I'll watch him fight, but I think he, in his own mind, I think he's a legend in his own mind. And a lot of these guys are the same way, but he compares himself to the great fighters, of the 90s and the 2000s, but he's not moving in that type of way. I can understand you want to maximize your profits and all that stuff, but at some point in time, every offer can't be a low ball. You can't be 50-50 when you don't have any belts. You're not an A side. I mean, same thing he did with Devin. They didn't offer me enough money. The man is offering you 4 belts and a shot at undisputed. And if you win, then, I mean, it's just an accolade. They offer you all the accolades, and it's always something with Shakur. There's always something with him. I think people, or maybe it's just me, people kind of growing tired of the antics or whatever.
Yes, they
are.
So
I mean, it really is always something with this kid. And like I said, he doesn't have a fan-friendly type of style. It's not exciting. Good fighter, but he just not exciting. He had a bratty personality. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I'm not trying to be too hard on the guy, but I would say it about anybody else, if they carry on the same way. A lot of these guys are just, I don't know, legends in their own mind. And that's all I got for the show. Thanks for having me up. Salute to everybody on the panel.
Take care.
All right, Coach Eddie.
Peace out.
Band-Aid, what's your final 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Good. Nickel Slick. Salute to the panel, man. Salute to the 2 cents boxing. You know, the show was active today. I want to thank Eric because I didn't really come with too many rebuttals today. I came for really knowledge, you know what I mean? I can always give my perspective and all that. But I also, you know what I mean, want to ask questions, you know what I mean? So that's where I came from today with mine. My top fight that I still wanted to see, of course, is going to be Shakur and Tank. I don't really know, man. I want to say Tank's not going to be able to figure Shakur's defense out. So I got Shakur in that one. I'm not going to say the Bud and Canelo because I think that's already going to go. So besides the Bud and Canelo, I still want to see Earl and Boots. That'll be an amazing fight, no matter if Earl come back or not. I want to see Terrence Crawford against Jamal Charlo after he gets done with Canelo, just to shut him up. I want to see David Benavidez versus Canelo. And for the last one, just because I mean, I know it probably won't be an excitement, but if they both come back on their A game, I still want to see Joshua and Wilder. I still want to see them guys go at it because that was supposed to be a big thing, and Joshua ran all them years ago for my boy. My boy was throwing all that money at him, but that's what I want to see as far as the top fights. I am getting tired of Shakur Stevenson. Fuck all the he offered me a little money, bro. You getting in that? You coming inactive, bro. And I know you fought Padley or whatever, but dog, you ain't really fighting too much, and I don't got time. You're not that old and don't got that much behind you to be fighting once a year. You know what I mean? I think you should be fighting 2-3 times a year and get these guys out of there. You know what I'm saying? I think you should have way more activity. But he's talking about his hands and all these things. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna do that, bro, you kind of like Percy Harvin, bro. You're good until you hurt. You know what I mean? Availability is the best ability. That's my 2 cents.
All right, band up. Thank you for coming on the show, giving your 2 cents. Make sure you punch that like button on the way out.
Yes, man.
Boxer Hacker, what's your final 2 cents? What you got for the show?
What's up? Hey, what's funny about this whole situation? I remember last year when that whole Tank Davis venue got moved, and everybody was like, "Oh, BBC is running out of money. They're going broke. Tank Davis doesn't want to fight. This and that." And now this year, it's Shakur Stevenson puts out a tweet, and it's like, "Oh, Turkey ain't got no money. We told you he wants to be out boxing. This and that. This and that." I feel like whenever small things happen, people just sort of jump to the deep end. You know, I think you have to wait to see. You know, I think sometimes we look at things in such a pessimistic way that we just expect something bad to be of it. You know, it could just be a miscommunication negotiation. It could be a problem for real, but who knows? But I think we still need to wait and see. As far as it comes to Shakur valuing himself high, or and missing on potential fights, to me, it's two sides to that story. You know, at the end of the day, I see where Shakur is at with it. So where Crawford was at too, where it was just like, I've accomplished so much. You know, I think I deserve more. And to his respect, I mean, he has accomplished so much in a short period of time. You know, but it's sort of unfortunate too that he's in an era where challengers know how hard he is. They'll use that excuse not to fight him and maneuver to maybe fight somebody who might be an easier champion or some more money.
No, Boxing Hacker, that's the excuse that they tell you so they don't have to fight them.
I don't think so. I feel like Shakur stands on what he says. I think he really feels that he's not getting the money that he deserves. I really feel like he really wants to fight people. You know, I haven't seen Shakur to be somebody who just is afraid of fighters. You know, like I said, I've known Shakur since the amateurs. I used to see him in the amateurs too. He's always looked like that kid that was just that kid, you know. I just think he's just in a weird era where the number one contender should be the other way around. Number one contender should be the ones chasing him. You know, the player should be the one chasing Shakur. You know, I want that damn fight. I want your belt, you know, but it's not really like that. It's sort of like he's a champion, but he has to chase the challengers, which is a problem. You know, as far as this whole thing about what you may call it, matchmaking. I always stand on what I say. Matchmaking is. I get what people are saying about, oh, you know, you have to build up fighters, but guess what? You can build up a fighter with a bunch of padded fights, and they still get knocked out when they reach the top ranks. You know, it doesn't really matter. Where you get built up at is really at the amateurs. Okay, in the amateurs you fight every damn body. You know, that's where you're supposed to get built up at. You know, I just think that this whole building up fighters, it holds up. Wait for one minute, it holds up the whole division, and I feel like, you know, if you're ranked a certain number, you should be able to fight anybody around that number. You know, she should be able to fight the guy before or above. You know, before or after you. You know, at the very least, you should be able to fight those three guys. And if you're the champion, you should not be able. You should be able to fight the number one contender. You know, and if boxing doesn't work that way, I just think that's sort of a problem. And I think that's why, you know, people always say, "Oh, you lean towards Dana," but I mean, what Dana says, whether it's right or not wrong, I think he understands the problem of boxing. You know, and I see the same problem. You know, whether what he's planning is going to work, I don't know.
Dana White don't even understand the problem with UFC. He getting sued by his
I
own
mean, the
fighters for
problem
hundreds
that
of millions of
UFC
dollars.
has,
How the hell is he gonna
a
come
lot
and
of
do
times,
anything for boxing?
like a lot of times, the fighters really be fighting UFC. They don't really have the same problem like boxing does. You know, you don't have the size of the speed or nothing. If fighters don't want to fight, it's because they don't want to fight, and it's very direct. They don't want to fight. You know, so I mean that's where it comes at. And with that, 2 Cent, I watched that 1 hour video. I'm gonna keep reminding you because we're definitely gonna talk about this because now I need answers. You know,
Man, land your damn plane.
I miss you too, 2 Cent. I mean Ty. All right, y'all. Take care, guys. Enjoy your night.
Boxing.
I
Get out of here.
he about to come with a whole bunch of rubbish.
I mean, holla back.
He about to come with a bunch of rubbish. Like, let's see what they do. There's no way.
You going in and out. You going in and out,
See.
2 Cent.
Hear me?
No, you going in and
Hello?
out. All right.
Ty, what's your final 2 cents? What you got? Mr. Greg, can y'all hear me?
Going in and out.
I can hear you.
We can hear you now. Yeah.
You have a little echo problem, but I
Mr.
can hear you.
Greg,
I'll say
what-
this.
I heard you. I think you said me, right? Because it's like Harper. She said me, right?
No, I think she said me because I think she wants you to close out.
Yeah, go ahead, Ty.
Oh, okay.
No. So basically, this whole situation with Shakur, I don't really know what he got going on. As far as him not ducking any smoke when he wants to fight everybody, I don't believe that. And I will bring you back to a moment in time where he sent a fake contract over to Devin Haney at a club or wherever they were. Just he does a lot of clout chasey things, and I don't really believe that he wants tough fights. I think he just wants it to appear as if he wants tough fights, and he wants to get money for fighting his fights, but them appearing like he wants big fights. Like we've said before, this debate nonsense has been going back and forth. Why don't you just do what David Benavidez did and move on to other fights? But you keep on going back to the same guys. There's other fights for you to be made in the 135 division. Your brother, for one, your fake brother. You don't want to fight him, whatever. But you're limiting your own fighting pool with eliminating people when you don't have to. So I'm just not sure, like you said, Tucson, I'm really not sure that he really wants to fight, or if he does, he wants to fight lesser competition for the most amount of money. And the fans, we're not going to pay for that. So I don't know. He really needs to figure out what he's going to do with himself and his career. At this point, I don't know who's leading him, if it's Jay Prince or who he's following, but he needs to establish a clear path for himself and just take that path and stand on business. If for whatever reason Turkey Al Sheikh is now offering you less than what he promised you, then that's handled behind doors where business is dealt. You know what I mean? You don't bring that to Twitter or X or whatever y'all got going on. It's just very tacky.
Because it was like, why did you feel the need to let everybody know that, right? Like, why would you feel the need to jump on X and be like, oh, he lowballing me? Like, why would you do that? Unless you BSing and you trying to find an excuse to be on the shelf, or you want a problem.
I mean, and if his long game is to fight Tank, like we discussed earlier, the merger between Top Rank and PBC puts you further out of the competition than it does into the conversation, because he has a slew of other guys he can be fighting. And Not to mention other guys that would probably have a better entertainment value. So I mean, Shakur is not as big of a name as he thinks he is. Being on the double undercard, he really needs to get a grip of reality. You know, the other day, like you said, taking credit for a flopped card, and now they're lowballing you. Like, who do you really think you are? I have no problem with people thinking highly of themselves if you moving like the type of person who should be thinking highly of themselves. But fighting the Padleys of the world, and I don't care he was a replacement before then, you were scheduled to fight a kid Schofield. Like this kid had what, 1 12 round fight? And this is who you really trying to I don't know. Shakur just really needs to he needs to make a clear path for himself. The young man is almost 30 years old, so there's really no excuses of being weak minded or listening to other people. You have to take your career into your own hands because at the end of the day, these people, believe it or not, work for you, not the other way around. So that's my 2 cents, guys, and I will see you
All right,
Tuesday
Ty.
after dark.
Ty.
Okay.
All right. Hannibal says anyone that's a threat to Tankamaniacs will hate. I don't understand how y'all, especially you, Hannibal, you do this every channel, every time. Nobody has said nothing about Tank this whole show. Maybe they mentioned Tank for a fight they want to see, but that's not the conversation, bro. We're not even talking about Tank. So I don't even know what you're talking about. We're talking about Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda fight, which is the fight that's supposed to be next, which is the fight that Shakur Stevenson is saying he's getting lowball for. That's what we're talking about, bro. Stay on topic. Mr. Greg, what's your final 2 cents? What you got for the show?
Let me go because y'all touched on a lot of little subjects that I didn't get all the information on, but I'll say this. Let's start with Turkey Alasik. He's in the long line of guys who come in, thought they were going to change boxing. As you can see, that heat and all that rah-rah has started to die down. He's looking for partners now, and he's realized he just can't throw money at this sport. The sport needs money, but it needs a lot more than that, and he's finding that out. So fighters are going to be finding that out now. They came over very quickly because there was money to be passed out. They rushed over to get it. The realities now are seeking in, sipping in for him now, and he'll find out what he'll have to do down the road. As far as negotiation for fights, you get what you successfully negotiate. I don't care who you are, who is with. Whatever you negotiate is what you're going to get. And sometimes fighters have walked away from negotiations when they didn't get what they wanted to get, only to get it later. Case in point would be Caleb Plant. He's fighting when he fought Canelo. He walked away from those negotiations because he wanted 10 and they didn't want to give it to him. So he walked away. That was a good move because they wanted him back because he had something that they wanted. And that's the thing fighters have to understand. There has to be something the other side wants enough to give you what you want. It's called fair exchange, no robbery. We might not look at it that way, but for the fighters, they know what they want. If they can get it, they're supposed to negotiate to get it. That's going to happen regardless of how you feel about a fighter, whether you think he deserves to get this or that or not. That's not the issue. It's whether he has enough for the other side to give him what he wants. And that's how you have to look at negotiations. They're not pretty. It's not pre-speaking. They're in there because that's when the fight really begins at the negotiating table, not when you're in the ring. So I'll say that about that. And, we may talk about that later. As far as Shakur, the perceptions of him is what's now hurting him. And he's not understanding that yet. He should not have went online to complain about he wasn't offered what he wanted. He offered what they thought he was worth. Now, if he thinks he's worth more, put yourself in a position to get more. Right now, for the guy you talking about, you're not worth what you want. You're worth what he was offering you. He's the one that has the money. What do you bring other than, okay, you're highly titled, you're an Olympic fighter, you have these great skills, but are you putting eyes on you? Are you filling up the seats? But that's what it is. You cannot have a belt, but people want to come see you and they'll fill up. Take the case of Arturo Gatti. Many times he didn't have a title, but he brought something to the table that they gave him whatever it is he was asking for, and he was beloved. They love to see him fight. You have to have that kind of personality and that you got to have that kind of drama and that kind of draw to start demanding all of these large amounts of money because you see other fighters getting 3 million, 2 million, whatever the amount is going to be. Make yourself worth it by being commercially viable. That's what's most important, and having something that the other side wants enough to give it what you want. I think V.A. Monegru said I contradicted myself. I don't know where I did, but pointed out to me. But overall, I like what may happen in this sport. We were talking about you mentioned Canelo and Bud. As you know, I don't even talk about that because until I see them on the diocese talking about the fight, then that fight to me has suspicions about whether it'll get made or not. I like what Bud is doing. If Bud is preparing himself, that's what he usually does. You can say what you want about the preparation, but if he's preparing himself to possibly get the fight, that's what you're supposed to do. We'll wait and see. So I don't say much about the fight because that's how I feel about it right now. I don't see it happening yet. I'm not convinced it's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong, and we'll see what happens. But I think overall, you got to look at when we talk about fight. I think Coach mentioned it too, or somebody mentioned it. We have to put the pressure on, I guess it would be the promoters more than anybody else, for those fights we want to see happen. I mean, to this day, I don't know why we still haven't seen Earl in the ring. We've seen Zoo fight 3 times. Yes, he's lost 2 of them, but we still see him fighting. So you still can talk about him if nothing else. Over there in Australia, yeah, they're happy he won. But you have to be willing to go and fight, maybe lose, heal up, fight again, lose again, and then come back for a 3rd time. Sometimes the 3rd time's a charm. It doesn't matter who it is that you're fighting. It's what you're trying to do with your career. What's your plan? How you going to move? And that's what's happening with Shakur. He's talking, but he's not fighting. Or he's not fighting the kind of guys and fighting the kind of fights that he says he's going to do. And that will always hurt him. I don't dislike any of these fighters, so I don't want anybody to think I'm hating on anyone. But you have to you have to really do what you say. And a lot of times they're not. And maybe it's because they can't, or maybe it's because other such situations that's happening to them. Because I, for the life of me, don't know why he went to Eddie Hearns, but he knows. And that's all I can say about it. I thought Boots was fighting this week, but is it next week that Boots is fighting?
It's next weekend.
Yeah, okay. Well, I expect to see a good fight from him. He's been sitting out for a while. That's the other thing about fighters. When they sit out too long, you got to come in blazing. Whether you're fighting the top guy, whether you fight somebody you may lose to, or maybe it's an easy fight to get you acclimated to fighting again. Either way, you got to come out blazing. If there's a guy you're supposed to get out of there early, get him out of there early. Don't let him stay in the fight and make people further question you. But it's the mentality of today's fighters too. That's always going to be a problem. Everybody wants to get paid $1 billion right away. And that's just not going to happen because who's going to pay you? You got to think about that. They're going to pay you what they think you're worth. I don't care how you feel about it. The top fighters, the fights that we were speaking of that we would like to see, we already said Crawford and Canelo, not Canelo, Crawford and Charlo, Canelo and Benavidez. I'd like to see, I know he's coming over here to fight soon. In a way, I'd like to see him with some of the top guys in his weight class over here. And I think that might be the plan, but that's what I'm saying. If you got a plan, you done did all you could do outside the country. Now they bring you here to introduce you and get the American audience to look at you more. That's a great plan. That's what they did with Prince Nassim when he was fighting. I mean, he made his big debut. He had a great fight, and he kept fighting until he got, exposed by Barrera. But you have to be willing to do that. And I don't understand it sometimes. These fighters not willing to take these kinds of risks to be who they want to be in this sport. If you try to get some money real quick and get out, well, that doesn't even happen that way anymore either, because you can get hurt very, very quickly and get surprised by a guy who's supposed to be an easy fight. Turns out he wasn't easy for you. Anyway, that's all I kind of have, because I missed some of what happened when y'all first started, and I apologize for being late again. I gotta make sure to get here on time.
All right, Mr. Greg.
All right, dear.
Thank you for coming up and giving your 2 cents.
Sure.
All right. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. I want to thank everybody that supported the channel by coming up, giving your 2 cents, leaving a comment in the chat, hitting the Cash App, or leaving a super chat. Interesting conversation today. We're going to continue to follow the Shakur Stevenson saga, the Devin Haney saga, the Tank Davis saga, the Terrence Crawford saga. It's just boxing saga, period, apparently. But I just thought it was very interesting that Shakur Stevenson is accusing Turki Al-Sheikh of lowballing him, when the narrative has been that Turki Al-Sheikh has unlimited income. He's paying these fighters what they're worth and what they're asking for. He's giving these fighters the biggest paydays that they've ever had. And so I'm just curious, is it just one big payday you get from Turki Al-Sheikh? Do you get multiple paydays? Have these fighters been getting paid what we think they've been getting paid, or has it just all been smoke and mirrors? Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you're listening to the replay of this live. And be sure to let me know and drop it below your 2 cents. And listen, if you don't want your host all in the video, cussing you out, timing you out the chat, kicking you off the panel, leaving you in the background, muting you while you're trying to talk, charging you to call in, come on over to 2 Cents Boxing, where we talk everything boxing and everybody's entitled to their own opinion.